welcome. Thank you so much, especially from an introvert. I'm an extroverted introvert, to be clear, but thank you so much for that welcome. How are you guys? You excited to be here? Nice. Okay, so I'm Carrie Ford, and I'm the CEO of Elevate with Carrie, and I'm also a somatic success coach to what I call the 1% woman. And I'll get into what that is in a minute, but I want to walk you through something right now because you're headed into so much goodness, so much value this entire weekend. So can we just get present and connect to the gratitude for the decision that you made to be here in this seat today? Like, how cool is that we're all here together? So I'm gonna have you close your eyes. Go ahead, close your eyes, close your eyes. And we're just gonna get present here, we're gonna drop in. And I guide clients through this all the time. Even though your eyes are closed, I want you to look down toward your heart space. Connecting to that gratitude for the decision you made to be here today. And you can open your eyes. Thank you for doing that with me. You should be really proud. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. Got to get used to the clicker. All right, in our time here today, I'm going to teach you how to change the way that you make decisions, which is so perfect coming off what Kimberly just shared about making decisions. That means that we cut away all other options. We're going to do that with 3 important words and only 1 directional shift. So you might be wondering, who is the 1% woman? Likely your heart, because you wouldn't be sitting here having made the decision to be here right now. She's multi-dimensional. She's multifaceted. Maybe she's a mom. But the thing about the 1% woman and a gold digger is she's open to doing things differently. And that requires her to be different. How do you get to be the 1%? You just vote yourself into the circle. You decide. And the thing about the 1% woman is that she's often being watched. She's being observed, right? And that's what makes you a leader, because people are looking to you saying, if she can do it, so can I. And that's how you lead. That's how you get to show up. So, what is a leader? Leadership is simply defined as the action of influencing and guiding followers. Lead her ship. While a follower is simply someone that travels behind someone or something, a movement. Follow her. And the funny thing about followers is they don't always reveal themselves. It's kind of like those of us that are moms, our kids are quietly observing. They don't really hold a sign up that says, hey, I'm following your every move and soaking up every single thing you're doing. But they're following. And that's why we have a responsibility to lead, to go first, to be willing to do things differently. But what is it about the 1% woman that gives her confidence to go first? She seems fearless. Do you ever have somebody that you kind of put on a pedestal and it seemed like they had everything together and all the success and they always knew exactly what to do, when to do it, how to do it, they had all the answers? They feel fear too. They just feel the fear and they do it anyway. So the one thing that the 1% woman has might surprise you. It's her BFF. Okay, but it's not that BFF. Although that's important too. It's her big freaking faith. That's right. It's faith so crazy that it seems radical. It's faith so big that it feels illogical. It's faith so big, it's borderline irresponsible. And that's the point of faith. So I want to give you an example of big freaking faith. This is an island in the British Virgin Islands that I rented last year with my business partner. We decided we were going to host a retreat with a bunch of women for $100,000. We rented the entire island. After we signed the contract and we put down the deposit, can you guess how many women we had enrolled? 0. But we did have one thing, and that was vision. And that was important. Because it was this vision that called us up to a higher way of being. The new identity. Because the woman that I was the day I signed the contract and put the deposit down was not yet the woman that had created the success of the retreat on the back end of renting this crazy island with nobody enrolled. I had to be so committed to my vision that there was absolutely no other alternative but success. You could even say that my big freaking faith was radical. You could say it was illogical. And maybe it was even absolutely irresponsible. But that's what faith requires. Who are you being when you make decisions? That matters. So I'm going to share 3 important words with you. They're going to change everything. This is how most people make decisions. And maybe you've heard this, and if you have, I'm going to offer you the opportunity to hear it in a different way, to let it land a little bit more deeply, to let it shift a perspective within you that you didn't know was there yet. Most people make decisions from have, do, be. Let's use coaching, for example, right? Investing in a coach. Once I have the money, then I will make the investment, so then I can be successful. We spend an awfully long time waiting, don't we? But this is how the 1% make decisions. This is how you get to make decisions. 3 of the same words, but we're going a whole different direction. Be, do, have. If I be successful, then I do the thing, so I can have the money. Imagine I never put that deposit down on the island, right? So the question becomes, do we wait to have the money to then invest in the coach so then we can be successful? Or do we embody success on such a deep level that there is no other possibility other than the inevitability of the money and the success because of who we are being when we make the decision? On the deepest level. Now, I know what you're thinking, Carrie, that sounds great. But what do I do with that? Because you don't understand, I don't have the money. And I'm going to say, I know, because it requires big freaking faith. You're going to be like, no, Carrie, no. You don't understand my circumstance. It's just, this is crazy. And I'm going to say, I know, because it requires big freaking faith. Carrie, this is irresponsible. I might be putting my family at risk. I'm going to say, I know. Because it requires big freaking faith. I like stories, so I'm going to share a story with you. Stay with me here. It's about catfish, a rainbow, and a Mexican tour guide named Manuel. Oh, it's going to be good. So, in 2020, my boyfriend Jake and I decided we were going to go to Mexico. In the midst of the pandemic, we might have been the only people to decide to go to Mexico. That actually made for a very fun adventure excursion to go do cliff jumping, because we were the only ones on the tour that day with our tour guide, Manuel. And those of you that are not familiar with what a cenote is, this is a cenote, and this is the exact cenote that we were at. This is a deep sinkhole in the earth, and it has a pool of water, mainly found in Yucatan, right? And we were in Ekbalam, and Cenote Sanche is the name of this particular cenote. So, we ride from Tulum to Ekbalam, and we arrive with the intention of cliff jumping. But you should know something really important about me, aside from the fact that I'm an introvert, and that's typically that I don't even get into an in-ground pool unless I have felt the water first with my feet. And even then, I can't make any guarantees because it might be too cold. So, here we are at this cenote, and it starts to rain, like really, really rain. And I make my way to the very edge of the top of the cenote with the full intention of taking this leap. There's only 4 of us there that day. There's myself, Jake, my boyfriend, our tour guide, Manuel, and a cenote staff member. And so here I am, and I am at the edge. And to my right is a very unreliable crooked tree with exposed roots that I'm certainly not putting my hand on because it's going to take us both down with it into the water. And on my left is, and this is a generous term, but a fence that's like a fragment of a gate, and it's soaking wet because it's raining. And I'm gripping that thing as if my life depended on it, and it certainly felt like it did. So here's Manuel, our tour guide. He's across the cenote, and he's got my iPhone. And he's ready to record me because I'm going to jump any minute. Any minute. And Jake, bless his heart, is right next to me. And the cenote staff member is down below. It's just the 4 of us, silent. And it's beautiful. And Manuel never put my iPhone down, and Jake never left my side, and we stood there for an hour. And so I silently made a prayer request. I just need a sign because I want to take this jump. I want to overcome this fear. But I need a sign to know that there's not some sea creature that no one's ever heard of at the bottom of this cenote, right? I see all these catfish swirling around. And so I silently make my prayer request. Jake doesn't know I've done this. And of course, I've done the thing you shouldn't do, which is look down. And so here we are looking down, and this is 4 stories high. That's 48 feet. And I'm looking down. I almost missed it. Jake goes, "Look, babe, a rainbow. God's promise." I'm gonna get emotional. It was so cool, you guys. A whole rainbow just for me inside the cenote. And I thought, and I felt equal parts of peace and courage as much as I felt doubt and what ifs. And the clouds parted and the mist rolled in and that rainbow faded and I didn't jump. Then I saw a rare blue butterfly. I mean, you can't make this shit up. I'm like, what is this? This is like a fairy tale. God's orchestrating all the perfect characters of the play. I still don't jump. So we leave. And we hop back in our tour guide van, and we take a ride 7 minutes down to the Mayan ruins in Ekbalam to finish the tour. And I am so heavy with regret and disappointment for my inability to listen to faith. I had asked for a sign. I received it. Loud, I saw it. And I still didn't take the leap. So as we're finishing the Mayan ruin tour, I looked at Manuel and I said, "What time does the cenote close today?" And he goes, "Well, it's 10 after 4 in 50 minutes. And I looked at Jake and Manuel and I said, "I want to go back." And they're like, "We just stood there for an hour. You better jump." I don't blame them. I mean, they lots of patience. And I was like, no. And this is so perfect because I love that Kimberly shared this slide around decisions. Because decision literally means to cut away all other options so you go all in on only one. And suddenly, my talk track changed from "will I jump" to "I am jumping." So we get back in that van and we take the 7-minute ride all the way back to the cenote, and I walk with purpose and intention to the very freaking edge. Back up, crooked tree, fence, hand, everything's in place. And Jake starts to count. 1 for the money. God, am I gonna do it? Okay, I'm gonna do it. 2 for the show. Oh God, I'm looking down again. 3 to get ready. 4 to go. And I let go.
4, 2, go. Woo! Well, jump, jump. Might as well jump.
And I wondered if I'd ever come back to the surface, because yes, it felt that long. And the water's cold and there's blobs of catfish around me, which actually was kind of comforting because I was like, I'm not alone in this hole of water. But it was amazing. And here's the coolest part. And I want you to remember this because this is important. What I've learned about life and business and relationships in letting go is that you no longer are the woman who doesn't let go because now you have. I shifted my baseline of fear. The woman who does not take that 48-foot leap of faith no longer existed because suddenly I became the woman that took that leap. And that's what I want for you. But you've got to shift your baseline. And you do that by taking a leap of faith over and over and over again. Because the thing is, when you're at your next edge and your next level up and your next ascension, you will not have a guarantee of success. You will not have certainty it all works out. And you might not even have someone to follow to prove it's been done. Because the only thing you're following is faith. But what you can be is committed, courageous, and brave. Because that's what faith absolutely requires. I want you to remember that fortune favors the brave, but the brave do not follow. They lead. And that's what you get to do, even if you don't feel like anyone's watching, listening, or following. They don't always reveal themselves. Remember what I shared earlier. So you're leading even when you don't feel like you're leading. How you show up matters, and who you're being when you make these decisions matters. So everything that you get to do moving forward gets to be run through what I'm going to call the 4 decision filters. Magnify, move, master, and multiply. Okay, we're going to magnify your risk tolerance. What does that mean? We have to expand your capacity to hold more risk by actually taking risks. This is your filter, so you can magnify this, right? You can take more action more often, because the fear doesn't go away. You just get faster at making the decisions. You feel the fear and do it anyway, but suddenly you recognize that place in your body, that feeling in your body, like, oh, I've been to this edge before and I jumped and I've been safe on the other side. So you start to build this self-efficacy and familiarity despite the fear existing. Because again, the fear doesn't go away at any edge. You just get better at trusting yourself. So I want you to get familiar with the fear that you feel in your body when you make decisions. Notice it, love it, welcome it. And then take the action anyway. Practice taking the action. Maybe your big, bold decision or your action item, it might not seem big to you, but if it feels like it stirs up fear, then that's a perfect next step. Start there. Practice that. The question you can ask yourself here is, what am I tired of pretending I don't want? When I ask myself the question on the edge of that cenote, do I want to jump? If my answer was no, I would have left and gotten on a plane back to Atlanta and not leapt at all. But the answer in my body and in my heart was, I want to be able to feel free enough from this fear to take the jump. And that's why I decided to go back. So what is it you're pretending that you don't want? Number 2, move with signs. To move with the signs so you can practice faith over fear. Again, radical faith is going to seem illogical. Most people will think you're crazy. That's okay. Those are not your people. That's why you surround yourselves in rooms like this with other women. So learn to listen though, right? I asked for the sign. I saw the rainbow. I knew that was my moment. I watched the moment pass. And then I chose to go back. But even when you see a freaking rainbow, if you've asked for the sign, you gotta trust it. So start listening. And you'll start trusting yourself. Oh, I asked for this like red hummingbird or whatever doesn't, it seems like it doesn't actually exist. Something that'd be really rare and specific. And the question you can ask yourself here is, how is this sign perfect for me based on where I'm going? Because faith and fear, they both share in common that you can't see them. So you get to pick which one you want to trust and listen to. I'm going to choose faith because that's the woman I want to be, and my guess is that's the woman you want to be too. Master your mind. If you can master your mind, you can master your thoughts. And beyond that, when you can master your thoughts, you master everything. You master your reality. You build a life you love. You feel alive in a life you've built. You live on purpose, in purpose. Cold therapy and putting our body, again, I do a lot of body work with clients. This is something that's going to practice you mastering your mind. You ever put yourself in a cold shower? Awful. Feel like you're going to die. Terrible. Why would anyone do this? 3 minutes feels like 3 hours. My boyfriend does this every morning, and I look at him like he's crazy, and yet I get it. Because the practice of staying with those full 3 minutes in the cold shower, the entire time that you're like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, what if suddenly it became, I can, and I will, and I am, and I've decided? You become a master of your own thoughts when you start to practice things like that. So that's a really easy and free way to try to learn to master your thoughts. You can do cryotherapy, you can go jump off a cenote, you can put your body in all sorts of different visceral experiences so that you can create new neural pathways and start to rewrite the script and the inner talk track that tells you otherwise. This is building somatic, that mind-body connection, and nervous system capacity. So even when you feel the fear, it doesn't take your body over, right? Bring you down a rabbit hole and spiral you. So the question to ask, if fear weren't present, what would I do? And if the answer is that you would do it, then you get to do it. Multiply your vision. That's exactly why you're in this room here today, right? To multiply your vision so you can normalize possibility. There was a time before I invested in coaches and masterminds and retreats and communities that I would say things to my parents and they'd be like, why can't you just be like everybody else and get a 9 to 5? Like, why do you have to swim upstream? You make it so hard on yourself. You're gonna write a book? What? You know, you're surrounding yourself with the wrong people. I think my parents are still confused about what I do, and that's okay. But the point is you surround yourself with other people that do support your vision, and they elevate your level of consciousness as a result. What is possible? You tell them I'm going to write a book, and they say, when are you writing it? You tell them I'm going to write a TV show, and they say, how can I support you with that? So these rooms are everything. Every time I joined a room like this, it elevated what was possible within me on what I already had dreamed, but also beyond that, what is possible based on what they've dreamed. And then I got to borrow belief, right? Like Manuel, the tour guide, he didn't put that iPhone down. It was as if I would jump any minute, and he stood there for an hour. I borrowed some of that belief because his belief in me in that moment exceeded my own. Will I do this? I don't know. And then we get to collaborate at the highest possible level because you're with other 1% women. You're with other goal diggers, other people that are visionaries that see the world differently and embrace that as their superpower. So the question you get to ask yourself here is, what don't I believe that I need to believe in order to create the reality I want? Be really honest. And how will elevating my circle support this? And if nothing else, you can use this one ultimate decision-making filter, which I use all the time still in every up level because I'm always challenging my status quo. I'm always challenging my beliefs. It's the only way that I've been able to really push past those things. And that is, am I making this decision based on my current circumstances or from the space of what could be possible? Because fear wants to talk us into the logical thing, the thing that seems to make sense, the thing we have proof with our eyes. It's been done before. I can guarantee my success. I don't know. I don't have certainty that this is the coach to go with, or this is the program, or I'm not really sure. You won't be, because you've got to rely on your big freaking faith. That's what it requires. Remember, it's radical, it's illogical, and it's absolutely freaking irresponsible. And then you know you're doing it right. We like to live on the edge here, right? So you might be wondering, whatever happened with that island thing she talked about? I'm going to show you.
A strong, passionate, badass, confident, courageous, authentic, worthy, empathetic, cage-breaking, capable, powerful, empowering leader!
want you to remember that if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. And sometimes all you're following is vision, because that's what faith requires. I can't wait to see what you guys create as a result of this weekend. Thank you so much.